there is a loss of identity. You can lose your sense of self, not know who you are any longer, question who you see looking back at you in the mirror. You begin to focus more on your spouse's healing, guilt, or shame instead of your own heart recovery. And this can actually be detrimental. Have you ever heard of the word enmeshment since you've been in the betrayal space? Some have and some haven't. Well, beautiful, today we're going to dive into this powerful topic that isn't talked about enough, but can absolutely block your healing after betrayal. So stay tuned. Hey, beautiful. Are you done with the pain, devastation, and overwhelm that marital betrayal has thrown at you? And you need a real roadmap to recovery. And you also desire to heal God's way. Well, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Lisa, a betrayal trauma and infidelity recovery specialist who went from being crushed and humiliated by my own husband's affair to a global sought-after recovery specialist, helping Christian women and couples just like you heal and recover from the devastation of marital betrayal, all while doing it God's way. Are you ready to dive in? I know I am. So, grab your favorite latte, maybe a glass of wine, snuggle up with your favorite blanket on the couch, and let's focus on you right now. Let's do this, beautiful. Hey, beautiful. Welcome back to today's broadcast on Beauty Beyond Betrayal. We are diving into enmeshment. Every time I try to say that word, I don't know why, it just ties my tongue up. Enmeshment. There you go. We're diving into it because if it's not dealt with, it can leave you feeling stuck, exhausted, and disconnected from your true identity in Christ. But don't worry, today I'm going to show you how to recognize it, what it is. I'm going to help you break free from it and move toward true restoration, both personally and in your marriage. So grab your pen and paper. Let's take some time out from all the busyness of life and let's kind of dive into this thing. So what is enmeshment? Well, it happens when the emotional boundaries between two people get so blurred that their individual identities start to overlap. It's where you actually feel responsible for managing your spouse's emotions, or they feel responsible for managing yours. You're stepping into places you shouldn't be. In other words, you've stepped out of your own hula hoop. And it's where this can take you down a deep, dark hole. In a healthy relationship, there's connection with distinction. You've got two whole individuals coming together in unity. You both recognize that you have this space. I call it working inside of your own hula hoop. Imagine having a hula hoop. You're standing in the middle of it. That is your sphere. That is what you are responsible for. That is what you are in control of. It is you inside of that hula hoop. When we step outside of our own hula hoop and we try to interject ourselves into someone else's, that's when the lines get blurred and things can get damaging. Now, in enmeshment, emotional fusion happens. Again, that's where you cross over into someone's hula hoop, and it creates major roadblocks to healing, especially after betrayal. So how does enmeshment affect healing from an affair? Well, first, there's this loss of identity. You see, you can lose your sense of self. You don't know who you are any longer. You look at yourself in the mirror and you question who's looking back at you. You begin to focus more on your spouse's healing, their recovery work, the guilt or the shame, instead of your own heart recovery. I see this time and time again, where the betrayed spouse comes to me and says, Lisa, I really am just worried and concerned about my husband's recovery. You know, he's either not doing the work, he's not doing it the way I think he should do it. They are so engrossed and have interjected themselves into their spouse's recovery that they are sacrificing their own heart recovery. And beautiful, you are important. Your recovery is your responsibility. Again, that's inside of your hula hoop. His recovery is inside of his. Now, there is a marriage hula hoop that encompasses you both, and that's where you work on things collectively together. But today we're talking about the individual pieces. Okay, the second way that it affects the healing from sexual indiscretion is codependency and false reconciliation. Now, this is where you might rush forgiveness just to keep the peace. You're like, okay, I'll forgive you, just stop the affair. Or I forgive you, let's get you into recovery so that you can get over this sexual addiction and we can just move forward. And you do this just to keep the peace without really healing your own heart. You're quick to jump into it. Now, I can tell you that's easy to do. I did that. I remember on Discovery Day, I immediately looked at my husband and said, I forgive you. Let's stop the affair. Let's throw ourselves into counseling and let's just move forward. Did I really forgive in that moment? No. It was a knee-jerk reaction because I was seeking to keep the peace. My heart was not healed. My heart was actually devastated, shattered, destroyed in that moment of time. And I was not concerned about it because I was grasping at straws to try to regulate something that had been just obliterated, which was my life. That's not real restoration, beautiful. That is survival mode. And survival mode can cause a false sense of reconciliation. It's not real. It is false. Okay, the third thing is there's no clear boundaries. You see, when you're enmeshed with one another, it feels wrong to set firm boundaries. But healing requires clear expectations and accountability. Remember, boundaries are not punishment. They are God honoring and they are healthy inside of the relationship. They are for safety. They are guardrails to keep you safe, secure, and stable, as well as the relationship. But when you have enmeshed yourselves in an unhealthy way, it can be very difficult to set firm boundaries because at that point, you feel guilty. You feel like you're punishing them. When in fact, if you don't set clear, concise, healthy, God-honoring boundaries, you're actually enabling them to stay inside of their unhealthy behavior. All right, the next one is it intensifies emotional triggers. You see, beautiful, your spouse's bad day actually then becomes your bad day. Their reaction actually controls your recovery. I hear it all the time. Well, they're not working their recovery the way they are supposed to, so it's hindering my recovery. Beautiful, that should never happen. If his recovery work, or lack thereof, is affecting your healing journey, you are enmeshed in an unhealthy manner. Thus, triggers spiral instead of stabilize. You're triggered about everything. The ruminating thoughts are out of control. Your emotions are dysregulated and are all over the place. And you feel like there's no control in your life, and you feel like his journey is actually causing your dysregulation, your lack of recovery work. And the only reason that that is happening is because you're so enmeshed and so concerned with his recovery that it's hindering yours. And the last one I want to share with you is spiritual misalignment. Now, beautiful, God must be your foundation, not your spouse. Enmeshment replaces God's rightful place in your life with another human. And that leaves both of you very, very vulnerable. God is your foundation. Your spouse is not to be that to you. And that is why I call it spiritual misalignment. When we put our spouse in a place that they don't belong, that is where it's going to turn us upside down in our spiritual walk. So put your spouse in their rightful place and allow God to be Lord of your life. All right. The third thing I want to share with you today is that quick enmeshment self-assessment checklist. There's one that you really need to ask yourself a set of questions to see, am I really enmeshed in a very unhealthy manner with my spouse since the betrayal? Now, let me go through these questions with you, and I really want you to take the time, be very honest with yourself here, beautiful. Be very honest. See what your answers reflect. First one is this: do I feel overly responsible for my spouse's emotions or reactions? That's a yes or no. Okay, check it accordingly. Number 2, do I struggle to set or enforce boundaries because I fear hurting him, or I fear that it's punishing him? Next question, do I define my worth by how okay my spouse is, or how okay he isn't? Number 4, I think we're on. Yes. Do I find it hard to have separate emotions, goals, or healing journeys? The next one, am I more focused on keeping the relationship calm than seeking true healing? In other words, are you more about keeping the peace instead of creating peace? And beautiful, there's a big difference. Jesus was a peacemaker, not a peacekeeper. There's a huge difference. Peacekeeping can lead to people pleasing, and that's a dangerous place to be. And the last one is, am I clinging to my spouse instead of clinging to God first? Are you clinging with your fists just tight? You're holding on and actually sacrificing your own healing journey to try to hold on to your spouse at all cost. Now, here's the thing. If you answered yes to even just a couple of these, then it's possible then that enmeshment is at play. And beautiful, awareness is the first step to freedom. So you're probably asking, how do I break free from enmeshment, Lisa? And how do I start to begin to heal? Because I want to heal. I don't want this unhealthy, enmeshed thing going on in my life. Well, here's how you can begin breaking free in a healthy, God-honoring way. First, seek to rediscover your identity in Christ, not in your marital status. So here's the deal. I know across the board, because I see it day in and day out, and I was one of the statistics, we automatically knee-jerk react to saving the marriage at all cost. And I understand that, especially as Christian women. We are told, save the marriage at all cost. And then we see things like affairs are continuing to happen, or the sexual addiction is never addressed. They won't give it up. And I see women that are bruised and battered emotionally years and decades into this thing. And they lose their identity because they are sacrificing themselves to keep the marriage intact, because they have enmeshed themselves so greatly with this unhealthiness that they only know their identity as a married woman. And they're scared to lose that identity. Well, beautiful, your identity is not a married woman. And I'm going to say that again because some of you need to hear it twice. Your identity is not, quote, a married woman, end quote. Your identity is in Christ Jesus alone. He's the one that created you. He's the one that defines you. He's the one that says who you are. Your marital status does not define you. The betrayal does not define you. What you do does not define you. We wear the hats of a wife, a mom, a coworker, a daughter. We wear those hats. Those are roles that we play in this life. But our identity is something completely different. You see, beautiful, my identity is not that I'm a wife or a mom or a Gigi, or that I'm a coach. I'm a specialist that helps people recover from betrayal trauma and sexual infidelity. No, those are the roles that I live out. Who Lisa truly is a God-honoring, God-fearing warrior of Christ. I am intelligent. I'm bold and vivacious. I'm outspoken. I'm loyal. I'm full of integrity. I walk in character. I seek to have purity of heart. That's who I am at the core. That's my identity. That's how God describes me: chosen, redeemed, beautiful, wonderfully, fearfully made. That is who I am at the core. That is also who you are at the core. That's your true identity. Then you have roles to play. It's important to ground yourself there and to rediscover your identity so that you're not enmeshed unhealthy any longer. Now, the second way to break free is to set and honor healthy, God-honoring boundaries, and let them be an act of love, not punishment. So I know it's not easy to set them, much less adhere to them, especially with consequences. That's why I have my brand new self-guided online program, The 7 Pillars to Healing from Betrayal Trauma, God's Way. These are your 7 foundational principles that you need to be walking in the triage stage, in that state, those early stages of betrayal, or if you're still stuck in betrayal, to help you move forward in the healing process. And this launches Monday, May the 5th, Cinco de Mayo, and the launch price is only $47. Yeah, you heard me right. There are 7 video teachings, and there are added bonus recorded teachings as well. You have downloadables that go along with these teachings, and this is all online, and it is self-guided. Who is this for? This is for women who have just found out about their husband's betrayal, and or you have been living it out and you're still stuck in some of these places, and you still need to have some triage work done. You need to know the foundational principles to start moving you through this thing called betrayal trauma so you can gain your footing, get some healing under your belt, and then decide if you want to go into my group coaching program or VIP handheld one-on-one coaching. So this is a great entry point for you, and I've priced it in such a great way so it's a no-brainer. It literally breaks down to $1 and some change a day to get incredible in-depth coaching from me and see what it's like to work with me, and I guide you through. So in that, we even go through boundary work so that you can start to set boundaries in a very healthy way. So you can go below in the show notes, you can get on that wait list, or come Monday, you'll get that email and you can get it while it's at that launch price. All right, what is our next step to begin breaking free from this enmeshment? Own your own healing work. Own your own healing work, beautiful. You are responsible for your healing, for your growth, and so is your spouse. Now, there's a time and place where we work on the relationship. And yes, my Marriage Redesigned program is for that. But we still focus on individualized healing within that program. Why? Because both of you need recovery work. As the betrayed spouse, you need to be walking through all the trauma work so that you can heal from what you've experienced. And that's been ground shattering for you. Your spouse, on the other hand, needs to recover and understand the reasonings of why he betrayed you in this manner, either through sexual addiction and or an affair. And until he gets to that, it stays vulnerable within him. So he needs his own journey. And then the marriage does as well. But you both are responsible for your own individualized healing work. So own it, move into it, and that new online program is a great way to get your feet wet. All right, your next one is to allow emotional separation. This can be a little scary when you're enmeshed, I get it, but this is where you feel what you feel. And that can be scary. I understand it, because those feelings can be very, very overwhelming. They really can. But beautiful, if you don't feel it, you can't heal from it. God created you in such a way to be able to ride that wave so that you can feel it, you can process it, and you can move on through it. And let your spouse feel what they feel. You both have to work through these feelings, okay? Don't take on his feelings. Do not do that. You work your own feelings out. And then the last one I want to share is run to God first for comfort, validation, and strength. He is your source. He is your Prince of Peace. He is your creator. He is the one that will walk you through. And he's the one to go to first. When we do this God's way, when we partner with him, then we use the other techniques, the tools in our tool belt, everything else that he gives us, all the other things like somatics, brain rewiring, and we couple all that with God's journey. We heal the mind, body, and spirit. We're doing it in the manner that Jesus did. We're following his example, and that is where ultimate healing comes in. Remember this, you are not, hear me on this, you are not responsible for fixing your spouse. You are responsible for stewarding your own heart well before the Lord. True healing happens when you cling to the healer, not the brokenness. He wants you to be healed. He wants you to be whole again. He's waiting for you to reach out for the hem of his garment, to meet him there so that he can bring the healing that you so deserve. So beautiful, I hope today's episode opened your eyes to something that might just be quietly blocking your healing without you even realizing it. Breaking free from this thing called enmeshment is hard, but it's also holy work. And if you want deeper guidance and biblical tools to walk this healing journey, then I invite you to check out my new online program, The 7 Pillars to Healing from Betrayal Trauma God's Way. Get on the wait list below in the show notes. That way you can get the launch price at $47. This is where you'll start to discover true healing, wholeness. You'll start to restore your God-given future after betrayal. And you'll start to rediscover who you are. And if this episode blessed you, take a moment to leave us a written review. I'd love to shout you out on one of our next broadcasts. Remember this, beautiful. Healing is possible, and so is wholeness. And with God, redemption is not just possible, it is promised. And until next time, keep clinging to Him. And remember, you are so deeply loved. Be blessed. Thanks for stopping by and spending a little time with me today. I hope you enjoyed today's show and you found hope, healing, and encouragement. Please remember to subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. You can even screenshot this episode. You can share it out on Facebook and IG stories. This is how we get the message of hope and healing out to all women and couples who are in need of restoration after betrayal. And if you're ready to move out of that devastation and take the next step in your healing journey, well, make sure to reach out. Schedule your coaching session today. Until next time, love God, live your life passionately, and always choose joy in the midst of any circumstance that you may face. Cheers to you, beautiful.